First was just brand building, but in a different manner, much more consumer oriented. I'm like, you were always looking at selling things, hard push, top line orientations and bottom line orientations. But I think that establish a genuine consumer connect, add to the consumer morals at the onset of, because eventually demand will return. People will start consuming again. At that point, that relation will hopefully put your brand Car Dekho as the brand of choice when consumer optimism and buying cycle return. So I think that's what we did. We did a lot of content marketing, which is in line with the mood of the audience and the nation at that time. The second thing was very, very unstable times. I'm like, especially last year, March, April, we did not know what we were getting into. How long was the whole thing? The first thing was, how do you actually save capital? How do you actually make even better ROI come out of the investments that you were making? So capital prudence was super, super critical at that point in time. You didn't know how you were going to be in this particular phase. But then that's what we did. There was a lot of capital prudence initiatives that we took. Lean, ROI-inducive marketing was put up front the first 3 months while we understood what's happening. And the biggest thing, at least on Car Dekho when I was there, till about 1.5 months back. But last year, May, so I was talking to someone and they asked, what's the status of automobiles? And April was the first month in the history of the country where not a single car was, and I'm literally meaning zero. But then May, I understood that people will come out again because nobody's going to be at home forever. And at that time, they'll need a trusted mode of transportation, which is where I predicted by August, September that new and used cars demand will go through the roof, which it did, especially in used cars. So we had to digitize the offline footprints and offline go-to-market strategy and digitize the entire ecosystem as rapidly as possible. So it helped us to grow the platform even when we were spending a fraction of what we used. And our used car transaction numbers bounced back to pre-pandemic levels shortly after lockdown got lifted and have continued to grow since then. So what it did was it just gave personal mobility a boost of or an acceleration of 3-4 years. So I think those 2-3 things really were interesting in the pandemic last year.